Question about the getting over here for base in Boston.
Yeah.
So are they not out there? Are they just working here?
Right. So the Rescue Coordination Center that he's talking about specifically, that's based in Boston. So the personnel that are working in the command and control environment, as far as building a lot of the search and rescue plans, sending out the information, coordinating those pieces, are here. The people affecting the mission, so the pilots, the air crews, all of the ships, those are based out of different areas. So our pilots, air crews are out of Elizabeth City, North Carolina. The Coast Guard cutter Sycamore, I believe, is out of Newport, Rhode Island, but they were operating already in the Arctic. So there are a number of people that are here working in that staff element, but are not physically located out in the search area, if that makes sense.
Command and control.
It is, yes.
Does Ocean Gate have another submersible that they could try to send down there?
I don't know.
It sounds like, for the most part, the staging area is moving to St. John's.
So I believe, yeah, a lot of it into St. John, Newfoundland, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's so. Our aircraft, the C-130 aircraft, they're based out of there as well. So I know there is a number of pieces going out there. Logistically, it's easier as opposed to from here.
Talk about Transcom organizing the different assets available. I asked Transcom, but I didn't know that you guys.
Okay.
So can you give a little bit more clarity on what kind of assets you have put in the water? I specifically asked about the Curve 41.
Yeah.
Is there one on the way?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So I know a lot of those questions were unanswered on there, and it's a lot of it's because we're not the right agency to be asking that. I know as the command, we should be to be the one to give the answer to you, but we want you guys to hear it from the subject matter experts.
Right.
So that's our next plan. Is what we want to do is give an opportunity for you all to get all of the subject matter experts we can into one location to kind of get those questions answered. To give you kind of the best thing we can do.
You anticipate in those 40 hours when that becomes a recovery mission, if you choose to do a recovery mission? Is that your plan? When those 40 hours are up that you gave for the estimate, is that the moment you shift from a search and rescue to a recovery operation, if you choose to do a recovery operation, given the difficulties?
I think it really depends on a number of factors. So anything that could change between now and then, as far as information response, things like that could change that. So it's not a hard and fast, timer's up, time to transition. There's a lot of factors that go into it that could extend something like that.
Excuse me, what role does the amount of oxygen play in one of those factors? And with 40 hours of oxygen left, when would you then transition from a search and rescue to a search and recovery?
I don't know an answer to that. That's definitely outside, but we can try to get back to as we transition through that phase. We'll have better answers for that.
Is there information about the conditions out there? Like what exactly are facing?
So the weather-wise, yep. So actually, I have, I believe the weather on scene today was 5 to 6 foot seas.
What does that mean? So sorry about the wave.
So wave height, 5 to 6 feet. I believe it was 15 knot winds. Visibility was very foggy yesterday with very little nose visibility, but was increasing today, and they were expecting much better conditions from an aerial search perspective.
So there was very waves today.
Yes.
And it's clear in terms of visibility. High winds persist, or
It was 15 knot winds. So in terms, it's about average out there, right?
Okay.
How long would it take a typical Coast Guard vessel from the U.S., or for that matter from Newfoundland, to get on site if they're running at maximum speed?
That depends on the cutter itself or the ship itself, because they all have different speeds.
Yeah. But do you have an average, just so we have a feel for how long it would take to get there?
Well, depending on where they're coming from, it could be a matter of 2 days up to 4 to 5 days. It just depends on where they would be deploying from.
2 days from Newfoundland, for example.
I don't know. We don't have any ships up there, so I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. We're trying to find out more information on the Canadian vessels that are assisting on there, sort of what their capability and speeds are. I just don't have an answer for you on that right now.
Does the Coast Guard have a line on a piece of equipment that is capable of going down to the Titanic?
The Coast Guard specifically, no. This type of a salvage operation in our expertise as an organization is...
No, in terms of private companies, have you reached...
So that's all part of the conversation through the Fight Command to find out what capabilities are out there and explore all avenues that they can.
You're looking at that now.
The Coast Guard is usually pretty quick about releasing videos and photos and things like that from their operations. Is there a specific reason why you haven't from this operation?
We just haven't received any yet at this point.
And you don't expect it to?
We do. We do expect to get some. Like I said, we do have some graphics that we're trying to look to send out this afternoon, as well as we've reached out to the aircraft crews to get footage from them. Now I know with the ROVs that are on scene today, like I said, there just hasn't been any before, so we are requesting out there to try and see what we can get to go through that and try to make that available to you all. I don't have an answer to that. The Coast Guard assets itself, no, we do not have any Coast Guard cutters on scene. No, so the research vessels, I just don't know what the capabilities are at that.
Do you think it's pretty unrealistic that it has made its way to the surface and its way seems to be spotted? Because you've done all of these aerial searches. Are you quite confident it's in the water?
That's why we have both types of assets, because we don't want to exhaust one possibility in vice of another. So we don't want to rule out that it is on the surface. And the way that our crews train, this is the environment they train in. They're specialized in being able to see these things from the air. So they've given it everything that they have to it. And if it's on the surface, we're fairly certain that we would be able to find it.
You wouldn't find out?
No, that we will find it if it is on the surface.
Do you think it's more likely it's in the surface?
It's impossible to say.
Can I just ask you to, I realize this may be challenging, you may not have the answer, but we're trying to get a sense of how far away the nearest naval asset would be that has that lift capability, salvage capability. Is it coming from North Carolina, from Florida, from Boston? Can you give us any idea of how far away it might be?
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that. Yeah.
Do you know if anybody, do you know if that vessel has a finger or some other way of communicating? Or is that
From the research vessel?
the Titanic itself?
Yeah. Oh, communicating with them? No, I don't have specifics on technology on board.
We understand they've lost contact in the past on other expeditions. Has the Coast Guard ever been involved with them?
Not to my knowledge.
But Ocean Beat is cooperating with the investigation.
Absolutely. They're part of the unified command in here, so we're all making decisions together.
So do they have anything else that can go down? 13,000 feet.
I don't know, but if they do, it's definitely being discussed as far as their capabilities.
Would they tell you if they did? I mean, so it doesn't sound that helpful, to be honest.
I don't understand.
Like, it sounds like the nearest vessel that it's not clear how long it would take to get a vessel there.
Right. And that's the biggest part of the challenge of all of this, is trying to understand how the capabilities are working together, how they would do it, the technical aspect of that.
So if you're a family member of somebody on board, do you have a message for the family?
I think it was clearly stay with Captain Frederick.
Could we ask you, could you just describe, the crush depth here? We're talking about 400 times, as I understand it, what we all experience at sea level. What can that do to a vessel?
I can't speak to the scientific side of that. Again, this is just more or less trying to get some background information for you guys on there. I don't have any of that information on that.
Can you tell us about what the circumstances were? Submersible doesn't necessarily, it goes in for a dive and walks right back up. It's not supposed to be there for that long. Is there?
And that would be a great question that we could try to get answered for you with that subject matter expert discussion that we talked about to get the opportunity for you guys to ask that question, because it'd be much more important and realistic for somebody within that community part of the command that would be able to answer that question a lot clearer than anything I would be able to. So,
and when might you provide your next update?
So we do have a press release that's going to be going out shortly with the graphics we talked about. Probably similar information to what was passed today. If any new information comes up, we'll update that. But I think ideally we'd be putting out press releases daily, and would look at probably doing another briefing tomorrow.
Can I just ask you one last?
Sorry, what's hold? I don't know.
Could you just reiterate for us? How big of an urgency is this for the Coast Guard? How big of a priority? Do you prioritize these things? In other words, do you classify them as priority red, 1, 2, 3? How big of a priority is this?
This operation is our top priority right now. Within the district, we have every available asset that we can that's to this that we can dedicate to it on this. That's why we are spending so much time and energy trying to coordinate really this enormous response effort to truly understand the scale of how far away this truly is. And in the context of the types of assets that we can get out there over something that's that enormous, something larger than the state of Connecticut, into perspective of what is available to be able to search in those kind of conditions so far offshore. Understand, 900 miles looks like is an enormous amount of distance.